funny if like they had a postseason tournament where they're like, since we have so many Bulldog names, like we need to narrow it down to one. So whoever wins gets to keep their name. You'd see the best basketball of your life. There's going to be some crazy shit. People are going to bet Eastern Washington, they lose by 10. And people are going to be like, oh my God, this team sucks. Or like Montana State blows a game and people are like, what the, the Big Sky's trash.
I feel like I just can't take you seriously. And at the same
program.
time, yeah, it's like I simultaneously can't take you seriously and I'm extremely interested in everything that you have to say.
That's good. That's what we need out of this stream. Okay, is that like inertia or something? There's like a
moving water requires colder energy to freeze. I can go call my mom. My mom literally lives on a river in Wisconsin.
What do we call that? Boots on
ground. Yeah. Okay, so you've got your mom's house on the under, and you've got life savings on UNLV. What else? What else can we wager? Future Kids College Fund. I mean, yeah. Well, so we're gonna double up, right? So we're gonna parlay the house and the life savings, and then we're gonna roll that through on something.
Told you we always been ready. I don't need people that's petty, that weigh on me heavy while I'm being steady. I need a record with Felly. We get it bouncing like Betty's. I feel like I'm Nelly. Don't bring the beef like a deli. It's leave on I levy. No sleeping on me like I'm Freddy. Chris Breeze, how I do. Hit him with the moves. Left hand step back, ballin' like I'm Coos. All faith, God's plan. You just gotta choose. God slaps, nothing left to prove. Y'all gotta leave me alone. Lately I've been in my zone. Told them no cap like I fitted, but lately the flows have been straight off the dome. I feel like I'm MVP, like my name Patty Mahomes. If it ain't about money, don't hit on my phone, cause lately I've been in my zone.
Hello, welcome to the Cowboy Show, hosted by Ben Carey and Nick Gronerad, combining expert human opinions with cutting-edge simulation models to help you arrive at the best picks each week. Inside Edge Community. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to today's stream. We've got day number 2 of the college basketball slate. We've also got Heisenberg instantly coming in with a gifted sub to Sammy. Appreciate that, Heisenberg. Let's go. W sub bangs to start off the morning. I see we have a lot of comments about the JMU Dukes. Roll Dukes, baby. Let's go. What a win. Knocking off Michigan State, number 4. My ass. Only top 25 team to lose yesterday was Michigan State. I saw this morning JMU petitioned again for a spot in the bowl game. Funny timing, honestly, considering the basketball win. It had to have been like in the cards at least a little bit before that, but definitely kind of funny timing. And yeah, JMU so up right now. It is an exciting time to be a JMU Dukes fan. I'm stoked. Also, my other school, University of Pittsburgh, yesterday. Big win for them as well. Not that beating NC A&T is anything impressive, but what's his face? Of course, I'm spacing his name right now. Like Carlton or Carrington? Yeah, both of them. Carlton Carrington is his name. First true freshman to have a triple-double in their debut since 2001. Again, not like the toughest opponent of all time or anything like that. But damn, that's kind of crazy. 18 points, 12 boards, 10 assists. Looking good. All right, so let's do a little roll call. We got a small slate today, so not going to be like a super long stream. We can talk a little bit about yesterday, talk about today's games, get some bets in. What is up, Ark Laws? How's it going? What's up, Crispy? Says, I use the Action app for tracking bets, and it's been screwing up. If I could transfer data over to another app, I would. Boy, oh boy, do I have the app for you. You should download Pickett. Sign up for Pickett using code CW. You can link your sportsbook, so you can go back in time, track all of your bets that you have placed previously. My favorite tracking app. Yeah, Action is poop for sure. What's up, Heisenberg? Sparty fans swimming in piss. JMU fans, Michigan fans, Ohio State fans. We can all agree that we're happy to see Michigan State in piss right now. What's up, Dirty Turtle? Back for CBB. Let's go. Welcome back. What's up, Gavin? Yeah, roll Dukes, Arklaws on USC, Nux, and Bruins and Reg. Quite the three-legger. What's up, Pill Daddy? Nice UCLA tuck me in last night. Yeah, that was the like sketchiest tuck me in ever. But we did get tucked. I literally was saying I got tagged in Ben's post, his tweet, and I was like in bed, just on my phone. I gave up watching the game. I thought that UCLA was done, but they scored a couple baskets in the last minute that they didn't actually need to score, but they got the cover. So shout out UCLA, second year in a row with an opening day backdoor from the Bruins. What's up, Tom? How's it going? Long time no see, at least in the stream. Had to tune in. Miss Nick's face. Let's go. Your Hoosiers are playing today. Should be. It's an interesting team. Lot of new faces in Indiana this year. Let's see. Oh, Jamie was up as a student. It's so fun. Oh, let's go, Gavin. W Dukes alums. That's big. What's up? T Spencer? How's it going? Crispy says, what was Ben doing with first halves? So this air quotes system, and we don't have like exact numbers on this because it's hard to find like historic live team totals at any given point in time. But the general system is if there's a team that gets into the bonus in the first half with a bunch of time remaining on the clock, take their live team total over. Their live first half team total over. Something that we've historically had a lot of success doing, and that Ben made quite a bit of money with yesterday. Home favorites went 62, 40, and 2 ATS per covers and per Jim from Almanac. That's a very good record for home teams. That's wild, actually. Carlton needs to add the 4 to his name. Oh, yeah, he already sounds like trust fund, baby. But that would just be like extra trust fund. Also, Sam says, tailed UCLA. Forgot to place it before the start. Betted it 31.5 and got hooked. Can I get some Fs in chat for Sam? That's brutal. All right. So what were some other noteworthy things that happened yesterday? I mean, of course, I'm biased, but big news yesterday was the JMU win. There were a couple teams that lost to non-Division I teams yesterday. I think Mercer lost, to Clark Atlanta. We were kind of memeing about who the fuck is Clark Atlanta. Also, South Alabama lost to Mobile, who I believe is an NAIA school. And Mobile led that game wire to wire. It was not even close. So that was kind of wild. All of the other kind of big favorites won. Louisville is still shit, but they did end up squeaking out that win. I don't think that there was any other like super crazy upsets. I guess Rutgers losing yesterday was another upset. Oh yeah, Oklahoma State lost to Abilene Christian. Although Abilene Christian is always a good school. I don't think the spread there was like massive. Yeah, it was 10.5, I guess. Yeah, that's an upset. I was reading that the last minute in that game had like 8 turnovers. Just disgusting basketball. All right, so let's now take a look at today's games. Minus 750 pregame ML. Sounds about right. So we've got how many games? Like 13, 14 games today. I've done a look over all of them. Have a couple bets that I like. Nothing's like really jumping out to me. But we're definitely going to have a little bit of action today. Let's just start from the top and work our way through. So the first game is Drexel and LaSalle. This one, bit of a mess. So both teams lost a lot from last year, losing like several top performers and not really bringing anybody in. I guess so Drexel lost 1 player and brought in like a role player, and then LaSalle lost 3 of their starters and brought in like nobody. LaSalle's going to be having issues with depth. Drexel, not really a team that shoots threes well. My lean was also Drexel in this game, Heisenberg. It's kind of an Philly versus Philly matchup. So LaSalle's at home, but it's a home game, but it's not going to be like crazy. It's like only LaSalle fans. I was doing all my research in these games before looking at the spread. So I see Heisberg leans Drexel, T. Spencer leans Drexel. I had this game basically even, and I was like, if we get LaSalle at if it's LaSalle minus 2.5, we can grab Drexel money line at like plus 110 or something. I was going to be in on Drexel at Drexel minus 2.5. I think I'm out on that, but my lean definitely is still Drexel. Total at 133.5 is low. And yeah, T. Spencer, I agree. Yeah, Drexel looks better than last year. I mean, they lost one dude, but they have some like guys who were young last year, off season together. Should be good. I'm just worried about Drexel scoring the ball. That's like the big concern for me. So taking a look at the Drexel roster, I mean, they have like a dude who played 14 minutes a game last year who hits 45% from three, but like starting point guard's like a 21% 3-point shooter. There's not a whole lot of like established bucket getters on the Drexel squad. But yeah, I think I do lean Drexel. All right. So next game, the other 6:30 Eastern game. So I guess that one and the next one tipping off at the same time. Florida Gulf Coast and Indiana. And this is an interesting game. So Indiana, let me pull up their almanac page. But Indiana lost a lot from last year. Trace Jackson Davis is gone. Jalen Hood-Schifino is gone. Race Thompson is gone. Miller Kopp is gone. Tamar Bates is gone. Lots of turnover in this Indiana roster. Xavier Johnson is back. Which is potentially big for Indiana. I have mixed feelings about Xavier Johnson as a guy who went to Pitt. So got to see Xavier Johnson play there. He scores. He doesn't really lean like never been a winner, I guess we should say. We got Trace Galloway back, and then a lot of new plate pieces. They bring in Kalel Ware, center from Oregon, who is very good. I think it was like a former top 10 recruit who was just stuck behind other excellent bigs in Oregon, transferred out. Big wild card for Indiana this year. Definitely a guy that I think could end up being like the leader of this team. As far as production is concerned. Yeah, and yeah, I agree, Tom. Guard play is going to be awful. Yeah, Xavier Johnson is he will score sometimes. Erratic is like the right word to describe him. But yeah, like not a lot of proven players at the guard position. They brought in Mackenzie Mbakpo. I'm probably butchering his last name. Mbako, something like that. Who is like a top recruit, but again, he's a wing. Guard play is going to be tough for Miami. Guard play not going to be tough for Florida Gulf Coast. They lost some players from last year's team, but they returned a lot of good production. Also, TJ coming in with the 13-month sub bang. Let's go. Appreciate that. WTJ. Let's go. So Florida Gulf Coast. From last year's team, they lost Caleb Cotto, who was a 3-point sniper, didn't really do a whole lot else, and Demir Bishop, who was just like a dude on the team. A lot of production back. They have Isaiah Thompson, Purdue transfer, fifth-year player, averaged 15 points for them last year, shot 37.5% from three. He is a really, really, really good player. I mean, maybe might not be such a controversial statement to say that he might start at guard on that Indiana team over Xavier Johnson. I don't know if we maybe go quite that far, but he's a guy who logged big minutes for Purdue for a couple of years. Chase Johnson is back. Zach Anderson is back. Lot of returning production on this Florida Gulf Coast team. They were good at the beginning of the year last year, kind of struggled down the stretch. Had some injury issues, but at the beginning of the season now, team should be healthy. So I really like this Florida Gulf Coast team, and the market is also respecting the fuck out of Florida Gulf Coast in this game. The spread right now is sitting at 11 and a half. And I was looking at this game, and I was actually kind of excited to bet Florida Gulf Coast here, expecting that we were going to get a number like 15 and a half, and thinking that that was going to be solid value. But the fact that we're getting 11 and a half, I mean, I still definitely like Florida Gulf Coast here. I don't quite know if I can fire that up. What do you guys think? So I see T. Spencer says lean Florida Gulf Coast, don't have the stones to pull the trigger. I'm assuming Tom is at least our Indiana fan, not going to be firing up Indiana here. Also, Crizzo says, what's a good site to see key additions and departures for college basketball? So, I mean, my go-to resource is the Almanac. There's a link for it right there. It is paid, so it's a $20 thing, but it's so nice. Hashtag not an ad. Tom is on Florida Gulf Coast. Jay Coop says, looking for Florida Gulf Coast live. Arclaus says, Lanoff, Pega's tailing G Unit. I mean, honestly, that's the way to go. Just tail G Unit and roll in the coin. Emotional hedge, W. Yeah, so Heisenberg's got Florida Gulf Coast at 12.5. Yeah, it's open at 12.5 last night. It's 11.5 everywhere now. But yeah, my lean is definitely Florida Gulf Coast plus 11.5, and I guess we'll call it a lean. I don't really know what I'm doing with this graphic. I'm just gonna type shit, and we'll see where we go from there. Any thoughts on the total? So I was also looking at this game, maybe excited to bet an over, but 142.5, 143, I think was like a little bit high for me. I was hoping to get a number in like the high 130s and take an over, or if we were like just weirdly high, take an under. So Florida Gulf Coast is kind of a weird team total wise. Not a team that historically I've liked to bet on the total a lot, just because they shoot a lot of threes, and a lot of the total going over or under just kind of depends on whether the threes fall or they don't fall. I definitely prefer to bet on totals because of tempo reasons and not efficiency reasons. I think it's easier to find edges with like, oh, this game is going to be played fast, or oh, there's going to be tons of fouls in this game, let's take the over. Or like I think that we're going to get slow possessions, we're going to get a lot of defensive rebounds, and then the unders a move. So when you have a team like Florida Gulf Coast that plays slower, shoots a lot of threes, and it just kind of all comes down to whether they make or miss them, I don't like taking totals. G Unit laying minus 14.5 with Indiana. Sure. Indiana offense not life-changing. No, that's true. Tom says, Indiana not playing through Trace Jackson Davis, going to run and gun and shoot more. Not shoot well, just shoot more. Although, honestly, if we're shooting more, just higher tempo is potentially a look on the over. But yeah, no, I think that this number is kind of just correct. There's also every chance, because, I mean, it's a little bit tough to know what Indiana is going to do, but Florida Gulf Coast, I don't think, is a team that's going to be drawing tons and tons and tons of fouls. So if Indiana's kind of in the same boat, we could see just Brick City on both sides. Then the under's the move. But yeah, I think there's reasons to take the over. There's reasons to take the under. Not seeing a ton of reasons to take Indiana here, aside from, oh, it's Indiana and it's 11.5. The Florida Gulf Coast team is good. Florida Gulf Coast is a solid team. All right. Next up on the slate, we've got Stony Brook and St. John's. The Rick Pitino debut in the Bronx. It's gonna be a fun game. Although the St. John's team is definitely a little sketch to start the year. What's up, Run Forrest Gump? How's it going? Just got out of class. What class were you in? And tell me one thing that you learned in class. Heisberg says, Nick, you talked yesterday about identifying teams going through coaching changes and a tempo change. Is that all in the almanac? Yeah, I find that information in the almanac. So, yeah, I mean, you can just like Google a list of new coaches And then the Almanac will talk about like their schemes. So if you have a team that was like notably slow last year, and there's like a quote from the coach like, oh yeah, we want to push the tempo, or like with Elon yesterday, there was like a quote in there from the coach that was like, we played slow last year because we had to, because we didn't have any depth. We have depth this year, so we're going to push the pace. And that game soared over by like 30 or 40 points because they pushed the pace. So that kind of info's in there. I don't think that there's really any spots like that today. Our class says lay off this game. Also, what's up, Sick Money? How's it going? People want to fade St. John's here. That's fair. This was another game actually where I was a little bit surprised to see the respect that the smaller school was getting. I mean, Florida Gulf Coast was getting more respect than I expected, and again, in a spot that I was maybe excited to be betting on Florida Gulf Coast on, and then less excited with the lower number. Stony Brook, kind of in the same situation. So this number's at 18 right now, which is interesting. I think that this Stony Brook team can kind of be sneaky okay, but St. John's is just such a wild card. So this team, it's like almost entirely new with Rick Pitino coming in. So you have Joel Soriano coming back. Absolute stud. Center. Played 30 minutes a game for him last year. I think it was the only player in the Big East who averaged a double-double last year. Just absolute dominant force inside. They bring over some mid-major guards. Jordan Dingle from Penn, who averaged 23 points a game last year. They bring in Dennis Jenkins from Iona, who played under Rick Pitino last year. Scored 15.5 points a game for them, 5 assists a game. Gonna be running the point. RJ Luis coming in from UMass, who I guess would have played with Soriano. Oh no, I guess he wouldn't have played with Soriano at UMass because he's only a sophomore. Just lots of transfers. I mean, Chris Ledlam coming in from Harvard, who averaged 18.5 points a game for Harvard last year. So a lot of proven mid-major talent. Questions, number one, of course, about chemistry. All of these people are coming in from a million other places. This is their first game together. I see Spencer says, want to fade the Pitino hype train. They lost to a D2 school.
Bang, bang, bang.
I kind of agree here. I was really, really hoping to get this number at like 20. So I was maybe slightly disappointed to see this number at 18. But definitely still leaning with Stony Brook. Also, Jack coming in with the 8-month sub bang. Appreciate that. Let's go. Yeah, all of the Maris people in chat. Also, Carly, I egoed Carly. Didn't respond to her comment earlier. Said I should have taken the ML yesterday. You're right. I'm assuming you're right. I didn't look at the score because I had no bets there. All right, so let's take a look at Stony Brook. So Stony Brook was pretty bad last year. They ended the season 11-22, 6-12 in their first season in the CAA. And they lose probably their best player from last year in Frankie Policelli. But Stony Brook last year, they brought in two pretty big transfers. They brought in a guy, Aaron Clark, who averaged 16 points a game, 4 assists a game at Sacred Heart a couple of years ago. He got hurt after 3 games. They brought in a guy named Dean Knoll, who scored 10 points a game at Cornell. He got hurt in the offseason, missed the entire year. So what that did is that allowed a lot of players that they weren't really expecting to play to get some playing time. And now Clark is back and healthy. Knoll is back and healthy. Stony Brook is definitely going to be improved from last year. They did definitely lose a couple pieces. Didn't bring in a ton. I mean, they brought in a transfer from Fairfield, who played like 13 minutes a game there. They brought in a transfer from Central Connecticut, who did average like 10 points, 8.5 boards for them, and then like a community college guy. But I think that this Stony Brook team is going to be better than people expect. So the other thing that I'm expecting from Stony Brook actually is potentially higher pace than we saw last year. So again, this is a team that lost some guys due to injury. So not a lot of depth on this Stony Brook team last year. They were 330. They were in the 330s in tempo. Let's see exactly where they were. They finished 331 in tempo last year. Their coach historically has played a lot faster than that. There's no like quotes about wanting to push tempo, which I don't love. But the last few years, Stony Brook, they were 111th in tempo last year, 268 the year before, and then 92 in tempo the year before that. We know Rick Pitino plays fast. His Iona teams played fast. His Louisville teams played fast. So I think that this could be like a kind of sneaky overspot. I guess there's just concerns about, number one, St. John's having some growing pains. And then number two, will Stony Brook actually want to push pace? So my leans here are definitely Stony Brook plus 18 and Stony Brook St. John's over, which I believe is at like 146 and a half. Yeah, 146. Looks like we can grab. Would like to play one of those. I'm not entirely sure which one yet. I haven't fired up any bets, but I think we can just learn together here. T. Spencer says, would have played Stony Brook if I got the number around 20. Yeah, I'm just like a little iffy about 18 here. Not that it's like the biggest difference going from 18 to 20, but it counts. What's up, Jay Thompson says, I must ask you a question. What question must you ask me? Also, Arclaus with the channel point redemption. Talk about the Baylor and Auburn game. So I'll hop to that one next. Game of the day, for sure. Also, apparently, Stony Brook has 47% of bets and 94% of handle. That's crazy. That has to be just like one big bet that makes 94% of the handle in that situation. There's just like no shot that they've taken like a billion different bets and 94% of the handles on Stony Brook. It's got to be just like one big bet. All right, so let's talk about Baylor and Auburn. So Baylor and Auburn, interesting game. So this is a neutral site game. It's in South Dakota, which is definitely worth noting before firing up either team as a home team or an away team. It is a neutral site game. So let's start with Baylor. So Baylor losing a lot of production from last year's team. Adam Flagler is gone. Keontae George is gone. LJ Cryer is gone. All three of those guys averaged 15 points a game for Baylor last year. Flo Thamba, also gone. Baylor returns. Jonathan Chamwa Chachua, who was hurt down the stretch for them last year and really, really, really hurt that team, missing him inside. They bring back Jalen Bridges, a 3 or a 4 who averaged 10 points a game for them last year. Langston Love off the bench. Caleb Lohner off the bench. They bring in a couple really interesting transfers. Most notably, Ray J. Dennis, who was an absolute stud at Toledo last year. Now going to be leading the point for the Baylor Bears. He averaged 19.5 points, 4.3 boards, 5.8 assists, shot 36.5% from 3 on a ton of attempts for a very good Toledo game, for a very good Toledo team. They bring in Jaden Nunn from VCU, probably going to be starting at 2 for them. Averaged like 9.5 points a game. Phenomenal wing defender coming from that VCU system. They've got Jacoby Walter, highly touted freshman, probably going to be rounding out the starting lineup. I definitely do have some questions about this Baylor team. Also, yeah, VCU, our clause is completely different from last year. Coach is gone. Their best player, Ace Baldwin, is on Penn State now with their coach, Mike Rhodes, who's at Penn State. Everybody's gone. We'll have to see how that team works. Game is playing in a great shooting gym. Tons of overs are played here. Also, Piaga, I see you asking about the rims at altitude. I don't think that's. I mean, it's like like Crispy saying, it's like technically true. Probably not enough to actually make a difference. But yeah, I'm iffy on this Baylor team. There, of course, like Scott Drew has historically been a great coach, but this Baylor just doesn't seem quite as talented as they've been the last 2 years. Auburn, I really like this Auburn team. I've always been a big fan of Janai Broome. Back when he was at Morehead State, he was one of my favorite mid-major players. Had some growing pains in the SEC last year, but definitely ended up putting it together, averaging 14 and 8. Love him. Love Jalen Williams at the 4. So I think that even though, I'm a big fan of Tchamwa Tchatchoua also. I think Auburn definitely has the edge with the bigs. Just the question is, what are the guards going to do for Auburn? And that's the big question mark. So they bring back KD Johnson, who played 22 minutes a game for them, averaged 9 points. Not the best three-point shooter. They've got Aiden Holloway, who is a 5-star freshman recruit who's probably going to be starting at point guard for them, which is potentially sketchy. They brought in Denver Jones, who averaged 20 points a game at FIU, but he's probably not going to be the ball handler. Also, no three-point shooters for Auburn is not true. Denver Jones is a sniper. Let's see if we can bring up three-point shooting stats for him from last year. Denver Jones. Yeah, he shot 37% from 3 last year on like almost 6 attempts per game. 59 for 159 from 3, which is excellent. Yeah, it'll remain to be seen if like how he fits in. I mean, people who up transfer like that, some of them work out, some of them don't. I mean, Auburn, like one of their better players last year was another guy in kind of the same boat in Wendell Green, who transferred in from Eastern Kentucky, and he was solid for Auburn. But yeah, I have, I guess, concerns with both of these teams about like where exactly they're going to find their buckets from. I will say, I definitely lean Auburn here. Just because I think this is a game that is going to be won and lost with the bigs. And I like Auburn's bigs more. Somebody in our Discord posted a tweet that said something about, John Rothstein tweet that said, source, Auburn's Janai Broome and Aiden Holloway will play. So maybe there's like injury concerns. Like obviously they're playing, but maybe not at 100%. But I definitely lean Auburn here at plus money. I don't want to touch the total, especially if this is a situation where we've got like a neutral site, so maybe system play on the under, but it's like a neutral site gym that historically has had a lot of overs. Makes it tough. I don't really want to touch it. I'm just going to say that Baylor is my lean here. Not Baylor, Auburn. Is my lean here. And probably just on the ML, which it looks like we're getting at... Price on Baylor right now, on Auburn. I keep misspeaking. Minus 105 on PointsBet. Looks like the best number. Minus 105 on a lot of spots, actually. Also, what's up, Nappy? W Nappy appearance on the surgical stream yesterday. Virginia Tech was indeed free. It was looking like a little sketchy in the first 10 minutes of the second half. But they got there. Had a big run. Ended up being air. Love that. Also, Nappy, have you been? Feel like it's been a minute. All right. T. Spencer says total got bet up a few points. Would be on it at the original number. Yeah. So we're showing like 147.5 right now. It was as low as 142. So yeah, definitely don't want to touch the over here. I mean, maybe you could bet against the line move and take the under. I don't know. I mean, a lot of question marks about both of these teams for sure coming into the season. All right. So next game on the slate, Albany and UMass. I don't really have anything on this one. Albany is an interesting team. I mean, maybe a team that is gonna be a little bit better this year than they were last year. I mean, they were pretty terrible last year. They finished 3-13 in the America East, 8-23 overall, and lost some good players. But this is another team, kind of like Stony Brook, that had injuries last year to some key players early in the season, and now they have those guys back. So Albany should be better than they were last year for sure. Jonathan Beagle, which I find it absolutely awesome that Albany's best player is named Beagle, and their school nickname is the Great Danes. They got that dog in them, you could say, if you wanted to make a really shitty pun, which I do. I always want to make a really shitty pun. But yeah, I think Albany is like sneaky good. And Arclaus says UMass is forever poop. Yeah, I'm not super impressed with what I'm seeing from UMass. I mean, Frank Martin is a great coach. That is for damn sure. But a lot of roster turnover. They lose Noah Fernandez, who scored 13 points. They lose like 3 other guys who scored 8 or more points. Another couple guys who were like big rotation pieces and didn't bring in a ton. They brought in like a guy who was awesome at St. Francis, PA, but it was St. Francis, PA. They brought in a guy from South Carolina who didn't really play a ton there, and not much else. A lot of freshmen for UMass. I mean, Frank Martin's great. This is another spot where I was like, if we were just getting a few more points for Albany, I'd be kind of in on this. But at 9, I just don't think I can do it. Also, what's up, Parlay Monstrosity W, first time chat. Welcome to the stream. Says, why Auburn? Baylor has an objectively better roster. Do they? What makes Baylor objectively better? I'm not saying they don't have a better roster. But what makes them objectively better? Because they lost 3 15-point scorers off of last year's roster. And I mean, I'm a big Ray J. Dennis fan. But I mean, he's got to prove he can do it against tougher competition. And Auburn has a lot of the same questions. I'm just I guess a bigger believer in Auburn's front court than Baylor's front court. And the front courts are the strengths of both teams. That's kind of where I'm at. I think it's for me it's a game that gets decided by who has better bigs, and I trust Auburn's bigs more. Although I definitely admit that there's more question marks about who the go-to scorer for Auburn is going to be than for Baylor. Our class says, I do the SLU test. If you lose to SLU, you're a joke program. True. Also, Nappy says, thoughts on Presbyterian? Plus 18.5. I'll skip up to that game. It's a weird one. So Presbyterian is a program that I've been, I guess, like interested in the last few years. They play like super stingy defense. But a lot of turnover on that roster. They lose 2 double-digit scorers, a couple other guys who were big rotation pieces who have scored like 7+ points. But it's looking like a sneaky kind of deep team. Presbyterian is this year. The question with them though is just like always, who's going to score the ball for Presbyterian? They have a lot of guys who are good defenders, kind of up and down. No true bigs, but I think against Vanderbilt that's not going to be like the biggest issue. But just issues scoring the ball. And Vanderbilt is a team that also had a lot of roster turnover this year. They lost Liam Robbins. They lost Jordan Wright. Several other guys. And didn't bring in a ton. I mean, they brought in a guy who scored 14 points a game at Lehigh. Brought in a guy that I actually really like in Comateros from South Dakota. And then a dude from Notre Dame that I think they're really high on. Then Alan Lubin, who only played 17 minutes a game at Notre Dame as a freshman, but like was one of their best players down the stretch. So a lot of upside for this Vanderbilt team, and also Jerry Stackhouse is a phenomenal coach. Well, I think the SEC coaches last year voted Jerry Stackhouse as the best coach in the SEC, which is a big compliment. So a lot of upside for Vanderbilt. There might be some issues early on. It could definitely be an under game with the way that Presbyterian plays. I mean, they're slow, much better defensively, don't really have a ton of shot makers, and with potential, I don't know, like issues for Vanderbilt with I kind of the same things really. Plus, there's a lot of new pieces fitting together. I think the under is a reasonable look here. It's already been bet down quite a bit. It opened at 138.5. It's down to like 134, 134.5, depending on where you look. But I think for me, that is definitely going to be the lean here. Also, let's look at some tempo numbers from last year. So Presbyterian. Yeah, 312 in tempo last year. Vanderbilt 206. Although Vanderbilt, I guess it's a much different team from last year, so not super useful saying like, oh, they were a great offensive team last year. But yeah, I'll put the under. What is Presbyterian's abbreviation? Is it just Pres? Okay, it is just Pres. Also, yeah, Russell, Trent choking the 1v1 yesterday was tough to watch. Oops. Yeah. I was just like memeing. I was like, I don't think you guys could see it, but I was just like dancing underneath the other guy. He was like up in the bunker, and I was like below it. I was just dancing. And then he killed me, which was not great. All right. Let's see. What do we got next? We have Mount St. Mary's and Maryland. I'm avoiding this game. Maryland's team this year is... I don't know what to expect from them. Lose some production, didn't really bring in a ton of proven talent, but like a lot of upside. And then Mount St. Mary's is like always kind of a tough-ish team, but like a little underwhelming last year. Yeah, so yeah, I'm staying away. I'm staying away from that game. We've got Lemoyne and Georgetown. I know Ben is on the over in Lemoyne and Georgetown. I didn't really get a good read on the Lemoyne program. So for those who don't know, Lemoyne, school in Syracuse, the only team moving up to Division I this year. They were kind of just like a mid D2 team. Played in the same conference that Merrimack played in D2 before they moved up. Same conference that Stonehill played in before they moved up. And now all three of them are together in the NEC. I don't think that Lemoyne is going to be great this year. They seem like an average to below average NEC team. But Georgetown is just all over the place again. They finally fired Patrick Ewing. Because, I mean, those teams were just so bad. Patrick, also interesting hire, Ed Cooley, coming over from Providence, leading Georgetown. But yeah, the entire roster is like everybody's gone, tons of new people coming in. How are the pieces going to fit together? I don't know. So I'm staying away from that one. Northern Iowa and North Texas. Okay, I like this game a lot. So North Texas, moving from Conference USA over to the AAC, coming off an NIT win. They have a new coach. Grant McCasland is gone. One of his assistants, Ross Hodge, is in. A lot of roster turnover for North Texas. Tyler Perry is gone. Kai Hunsbury is gone. Abu Usman is gone. That's three guys who average double-digit scoring. That's their three leading scorers, probably their three best players from last year are all gone. They're going to play basically the same system that they did last year. They're gonna slow you down, play some pack line defense. I don't know that the talent is quite there. They bring in a couple power conference transfers. Rondell Walker, who played 12 minutes a game at TCU last year. Robert Allen from Ole Miss, who played 16 minutes a game for them. So there's definitely still talent at North Texas. But I'm with you guys in chat who are saying, lean UNI, like UNI. I like UNI too. I'm a big fan of this Northern Iowa team. So last year, they struggled with some injuries, for sure. But there is a lot of just talent on this Northern Iowa team. Bowen Bourne, now a junior, scored 17 points a game, or I guess close to 18 points a game last year. Nate Heiss, 12 points a game last year. Bourne, it can get a basket from anywhere. Michael Duax, who was a freshman last year, scored 10 points a game, just super aggressive driving to the basket. So Northern Iowa can score inside. They can score outside. They have bigs. They brought in a transfer from Loyola Chicago. 6'11", probably going to start for them. Didn't play a ton, but a younger kid that they like a lot. So I really like this Northern Iowa team. I think that North Texas might have some issues scoring the ball, which they definitely have at times, and they don't really have like a Tyler Perry this year, who can just go and get bucket after bucket after bucket when they need somebody to step up and score. So yeah, give me Northern Iowa in this game. Let's take a look what the number's at right now. Northern Iowa 4-point dogs. Yeah, give me Northern Iowa +4. We'll call this a bet because I'm 100% going to be on that. That's where I'm at. So yeah, there's all boils down to the fact that Northern Iowa has guys who can go get buckets. North Texas, question marks about who's going to go get buckets. All right, North Dakota and Iowa. I'm staying away from that one. North Dakota should be a reasonably good team this year. I don't know what we're going to get out of Iowa. Iowa's all over the place. So staying away from that game. UNC Asheville and Michigan. I think one of the most surprising returning players in the mid-major ranks, Drew Pember, returning to UNC Asheville. Drew Pember is going to be the best player on the court in this game. T. Spencer says playing on Michigan. No, give me UNC Asheville all day here. Drew Pember's a fucking stud. He's so good. So for those who don't know, Drew Pember, 21 points, 9 boards a game last year, 2.3 blocks per game last year, 2.3 assists per game at 6'11", 37% shooting from 3 on pretty high volume. He's an absolute beast. They have other guys who can shoot the ball. Fletcher Abbey, 41.6% from 3 last year, Caleb Burgess, I guess only 30% from three, but running the point, so he's not going to be shooting a ton. Brought in some guys from other places who can score, who can defend. UNC Asheville's a good team. And yeah, Sick Money says, as a Michigan fan, I have no idea what to expect from this team. I don't think Michigan I don't think Michigan's going to be all that great. Also, Spencer says Asheville struggles going up in class. I mean, what's the sample size on that? I mean, obviously they struggled against UCLA in the tourney last year. That's for sure. But what does this Michigan team have? They lost like everybody from last year. Hunter Dickinson is gone. Kobe Bufkin's gone. Jet Howard is gone. That's like all of their scoring. So, I mean, you've got Doug McDaniel back at the point. You've got a transfer coming in who played 14 minutes at Alabama. You've got a transfer coming in who played 14 minutes at Seton Hall. Got a good player coming in from Tennessee for sure. But massive question marks for like who's going to get buckets on this Michigan team. And like Michigan will take Pember away, like maybe, but they have no like proven players in the front court. I mean, there's every chance that we get a Juwan Howard coaching masterclass, and this Michigan team is good. But I mean, for big questions on both ends of the floor for Michigan. Who's going to score? How are they going to defend? It'll be tough. It'll be tough for them. So Asheville struggled non-conference last year. Let's take a look at their schedule. See what they did. So they beat UCF. They lost to, they got blown out by Arkansas. Got blown out by Dayton. They beat a pretty good, I guess Radford's not even non-conference. And they beat Central Florida. I mean, I don't know if like a couple games last year against good teams, like Arkansas was a legitimately really good team, and Dayton also a legitimately like excellent team last year. I don't know if that's like a great reason to take Michigan here. Like what's the win condition for Michigan? Like obviously Michigan should win. They're just like up and down the roster. There's more athleticism. There's more depth. There's more talent. But I don't know. I lean with Asheville for sure. Juwan Howard isn't coaching. Is he like suspended? Did I miss something? Also, that's why you like Michigan. That's fair. But yeah, I definitely lean with UNC Asheville plus the points. Run Forrest Gump says like the over. What's this number at? 143. It feels about right to me, honestly. But yeah, I'll take UNC Asheville plus 11 as a lean here. Howard's away with a health issue. Okay. I mean, yeah, then maybe. I don't think Juwan Howard is like the best coach. But I hope he's okay. All right, so a couple more games. Next game. I believe my favorite play today. Creighton and Florida A&M. Florida A&M looks bad this year. They look like another team. It's just going to be terrible. So let's take a look at Florida A&M. So they returned some players from last year, but nobody who played more than like 24 minutes a game. So they returned a guy who played 12 minutes a game and scored 8 points a game, which is actually like a crazy points per minute numbers. They return a guy who played 24 minutes a game last year, scored 5 points a game. Return a guy who played 17 minutes and scored 5.5 points a game. Aside from that, they bring in like a transfer from NC A&T. Remember, NC A&T, trash team last year, trash team this year. And this guy that they brought in played 13 minutes a game for them last year. And he's going to be their starting point guard. They brought in a guy from Mercer who played, how much at Mercer? 13 minutes a game at Mercer. They brought in a guy from Stetson who played 11 minutes a game. It's like not and a bunch of freshmen and like JUCO guys. So just like no proven scoring, no proven talent on this Florida A&M team. Taking on Creighton, also no size. So the Mercer transfer is 6'10". Rest of their starting lineup looks like it's all going to be like 6'5", 6'6". Against a Creighton team that is just going to just outsize, outskill them everywhere. So Creighton lost Arthur Kaluma from last year. They lost Ryan Nemhard from last year. Everybody else is back. You got Ryan Kalkbrenner, one of the best players in the country, is back. Baylor Shireman, absolute sharpshooter, is back. Stephen Ashworth, transferring in from Utah State, shot 43.4% from three last year on high volume. He's in. Trey Alexander's back running the point. Got some good freshmen. Questions at the 4 for Creighton, although against a really, really, really undersized Florida A&M team, I don't think it's going to matter that much. But I'm happy to lay the 35 here. I really am. The other thing is Creighton. I guess they're not like fast, but they're fast enough. I mean, if they're a slow team, there's definitely concerns about this many points. But they were in like the mid hundreds last year in tempo. So give me Creighton all day. I mean, it's a lot of points. Don't get me wrong. But this is going to be like the Pitt game yesterday. That's kind of what I'm feeling here. It's going to be like the Pitt game from yesterday. Timmy's finally done. Hesberg says, I missed a breakdown of UNI. Yeah. So the TLDR is North Texas lost their coach. North Texas lost some of their best players. They still have talent, and they have just like their longtime assistant coach stepped up into the coaching role. But they don't have Tyler Perry, which is like the big thing here. So North Texas slows the game down. Should be a kind of grindy game. And a lot last year, they would just rely on Tyler Perry to get a bucket here, bucket there, just like break them out of a cold stretch. And now without a guy who can go out and just grab a bucket by himself, it's gonna be tough against a Northern Iowa team with a lot of guys who can go get a bucket in a lot of different ways. They can get buckets at the rim. They can get buckets from three. I think Northern Iowa is the move. What's up, Jay Smitty says, Auburn or Baylor? What does the model say? I'm not looking at the model this early in the year. Needs a couple games to adjust to a lot of the freshmen coming in. But yeah, lean is Auburn. I don't know that I'm going to be betting Auburn. In fact, probably not, but Auburn's the lean. Two things that are definitely going to be bet, Northern Iowa and Creighton so far. And yeah, Creighton, no, not plus, minus. I would bet Creighton plus 35.5 too. I don't know if a book would give me that. All right, and then 3 other games. Purdue, Fort Wayne, and DePaul. I'm staying away. Both of those teams are turning over like their entire rosters. No clue what's going to happen there. UC Irvine and San Jose State should be a pretty good game. Both teams losing a lot from last year. Omari Moore gone from San Jose State. Irvine lost both of their 15-point scorers. It's gonna be a tough one. I was hoping to bet Irvine as a dog, but they were like -3.5, -4. So didn't really see the value there. So honestly, like could be San Jose State, but probably not. And then Sac State and Nevada was a game that I was definitely thinking about Nevada in, but just sketched out enough that I'm off. Sac State had enough, like, I guess, wild card pieces coming in that I'm like, eh. Yeah, Miles is a great coach. But yeah, so like Sac State has a transfer from Tulsa, so played like in the American last year, scored 9.7 points a game, shot 41% from 3 last year in the American. They have a transfer coming in from Utah State, who was a bench piece at Utah State, but that's a great team too. Guy coming in from NC A&T who scored 8 points a game for them last year, which I know we shit talk NC A&T all the time, but he scored. Some good freshmen. So yeah, it's like not quite enough. Nevada's going to be a pretty solid team this year. They return a lot. I mean, they lost Will Baker, but Keenan Blackshaw is back. Jared Lucas is back. Trey Coleman is back. Bring in some other interesting like JUCO pieces. So Nevada's a team that I'm definitely looking out for. And if they were playing like a different style of school today, I'd be all over them. So the one thing that Nevada has going for them is they're a big team. Like they're guards. They're Keenan Lukescheer, Jared Lucas, like 6'6" and 6'4" at the 1 and the 2, and then 6'7" plus at the wing and at center, and like a lot of like 6'9", 6'10" depth with bigs. So against like a smaller team, I would have been all in. But Sacramento State actually does have decent size. So I was like not quite enough. The other concern, I was also maybe like thinking about an over, anticipating Nevada pushing pace a little bit more this year. But Sacramento State has just historically been such a slow team that I was sketched on it enough that I didn't want to take the over. All right, so let's go through some of these leans, kind of see where we're at. So Florida Gulf Coast plus 11.5 against Indiana. I definitely like it. I don't know that I want to actually lay the coin there. Definitely thinking about it. Also, I'm going to post my full card on Twitter every day. I just need to think about that one a little bit more. Stony Brook. How about like a Stony Brook team total over? Have to be able to bet that somewhere, right? Because if we like Stony Brook to cover and we like the over, then the implication is Stony Brook is going to score some points. Let's say pulling up DraftKings right now, seeing if they have a line for Stony Brook. Team props. Stony Brook over 63.5. That feels nice. I kind of like that. If team total doesn't hit, that would imply they don't cover and game to. I mean, so you can have one or the other. So the way that the math works is that if they cover and the game goes over, it's a mathematical guarantee that the team total over hits. So I want to do like, because it's like I guess a slightly off market bet. Want to look at that a little bit more, but that's definitely something I have my eye on. I definitely want some action in this game, whether it's on the over, whether it's on Stony Brook, or whether it's on the Stony Brook team total. Definitely going to have some action. Again, I'll post the full card on Twitter. Auburn is definitely a lean. I don't think I'm going to actually bet that game. It feels close enough. I don't have enough conviction that, like, yes, Auburn is the better team here. And with the lines being, like, minus 105, minus 110 both ways type of deal. I'm like, it's not a spot where I have enough conviction to take a coin flip. Presbyterian and Vanderbilt, that under looks pretty good. I don't think I'm going to actually bet that. Going to look at it a little bit more throughout the day. But just, I guess, enough question marks with Vanderbilt's team, with how much roster turnover they have, that I don't know that I want to touch that at a low number. Love Northern Iowa, UNC Asheville. I don't think I'm going to bet that, but that's definitely the lean. And then love Creighton. POD is going to be Creighton minus 35.5 for sure. So the card, Creighton, Northern Iowa, going to be something in the Stony Brook game for sure. And then still contemplating Florida Gulf Coast, contemplating Presbyterian Vanderbilt. And then doubt I'm going to have action on Auburn or UNC Asheville. Although if I had like a free bet that I could only use on that game, it's like I would definitely be on that side. And then the things that aren't up here, it's like even if I had a free bet that I could only use on that game, I don't know where I'm going yet. All right. So W stream. I'll be back again tomorrow to go over the Wednesday slate. Let's see how many games are tomorrow. About the same number. Looks like another 15-ish game slate. So yeah, I'll try to be on time also tomorrow at 9:30 my time, 11:30 Eastern. But yeah, I'm gonna call it there. Appreciate everyone hanging out today. Good luck with your bets, unless you're fading me. Looking at you, Florida A&M enthusiasts, North Texas backers. Yeah, have a great rest of your Tuesday, and I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.